Hey guys, welcome to our second video on the channel. I am your host this time, Twiggy Stardust, but all of our subscribers can call me Twig. And I am joined by internet sickly boy, Shado Panda.
Hey, what's up?
We're already 2 videos in and you're already getting sick.
I know, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
This channel's already getting to you, man. It's already getting you sick.
We'll call it the stress.
I guess so. But I want to do something a little different this video. I guess it's our other series, I guess you can call it, of different shows we have. But we were talking about maybe doing a debate channel, where we just do a bunch of different debates with each other because we love to debate. But I want to do something a little different. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit, I guess you can say. So obviously, what you see on the screen is Fortnite Chapter 2. That just happened this morning around 5 in the morning our time. We are in the Central Standard Time. But I would talk about it as kind of a news thing, but I feel like a lot of people are already doing that because Fortnite's one of the biggest things in the world. So I want to argue something that has to do with Fortnite, and we're going to call this series, are you ready, Panda? We're calling it Am I Wrong? So, so Am I Wrong is basically I'm going to argue something, and maybe when you're hosting, you can argue something towards me, and you're going to have to prove that I'm wrong. Either you do prove it and we go back and forth on that, or you agree with me and we just discuss it further. So I'm going to argue that Fortnite Chapter 2 had the best marketing of any video game of all time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my reasoning as to why it is the best marketing of all time. So think about this. Fortnite, since its beginning, has done live updates, which has been awesome by itself, right? When you jump into a game of Fortnite Battle Royale, or I think even Save the World 2, you see what's happening live while you're playing the game. It's not some like patch push where you have to be kicked out of the game and go watch a trailer somewhere else. It literally happens inside the game. And I think that's amazing by itself. But this one with the black hole blew people's mind. Like they shut down the game for 2 days straight. And people were watching just a black screen with a little dot in the center with some blue around it for 2 straight days, figuring out what's going to happen. And then, of course, as we know now, Fortnite Chapter 2 came out, and it's a brand new map with all different types of abilities. You can carry people now. There's boats. There's a fishing rod where you can fish for loot. But it caught people's eyes, even people who don't play Fortnite. Like, I would argue, I mean, we don't play Fortnite. We're not Fortnite players. I would say you, out of anyone I know, plays Fortnite more than anybody else. And even then, you play it probably every now and then. You don't play it regularly, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, Fortnite for me after season, I don't know, 6, 7, when they made building so easy that if I shoot at you, you build a 4-story apartment complex. It's hard to fight. And I get it, that's the whole premise for the game, but I couldn't do it.
Right. So now everyone is talking about it, even us. Like we're talking about it right now. Like I could not get my eyes off of this thing for the past 2 days. Like as soon as we saw it up at our work, as soon as the black hole happened, we were staring at it for how long? Maybe 4 or 5 hours? Pretty much
Oh
until we got
yeah.
off work, right? So now here's the whole premise. So Panda, am I wrong? Am I wrong that this is the greatest marketing campaign of a video game of all time? Is there anything that you can think of that can combat this in terms of marketing campaigns for a video game? Or do you agree with me? Am I right? And if so, why am I right? Or if so, why am I wrong?
You know, I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of different video game marketing from Bethesda doing their whole Doom remastered series. They launched that whole campaign for it. Or arguably Gears of War, one of the biggest games in that era, and they always do multiple different trailers, just amazing stuff. But to be completely honest, no, I think you're right. I think this has got to be the best marketing campaign I have ever seen in my history of gaming.
Right, because I was thinking about this with Death Stranding. I don't know if you remember this, but back a couple months ago on Twitch.tv, I can't remember if it was the PlayStation. I think it was the PlayStation channel. Just started posting a black screen, right? And you would see handprints come up, and behind it you would see little bits of video that was playing in the background. But and that eventually, like 24 hours later, that showed the Death Stranding trailer, which is probably one of the biggest games, anticipated games of this year because it's Hideo Kojima. It's Kojima Productions, creator of Metal Gear Solid, so he's already hyped up, right? But this got the attention of major news outlets. This got the attention of Forbes. This got the attention of New York Times. Like it is I mean, I don't see it in terms of just like me personally. Like, I don't, again, I'm not a fan of Fortnite, so I don't see why these big companies are, looking at this game. But to that contrary, they are big media sites and they are looking at a video game in terms of just a black hole and thinking what's going to happen next, right? It's so bizarre that they would do that, but at the same time, Fortnite is a very big deal around the world, and it got hundreds of thousands of people to watch a black hole for literally 2 days straight. No one was playing the game. There was no way to even play the game for 2 days. Epic Games literally shut down the servers and just had a black hole popped up, and everyone was still captivated. You know, in probably other video games, they've probably been like, "What the fuck is this? Why can we not play? This is bullshit. I hate this. I just want to play the game." But because it's Fortnite, it literally people were just staring at it for hours. Like big streamers were literally streaming it for 6, 7, 8 hours straight, even some cases 24 hours straight of just the black hole, seeing all the numbers pop up, trying to figure out what the numbers mean. Then they figured out it deciphered a message, and just trying to calculate all these different things to do with this update. And then when it comes out, everyone's playing it. Like it made the game even bigger, because I think you and I could agree this game was on a decline. Maybe not like harsh decline, but it was on a little decline. Kind of like you said with season 6, season 7, people were starting to get upset with the updates, and how they were changing the game. But now that seems like non-existent, right? Like everyone's kind of forgotten about that, and now it's Fortnite Chapter 2, and there's a new map, new abilities. You can swim, you can go on a boat, you can carry people, even if they're not on your team, you can carry them on your back. Like, it's just kind of wiped all that stuff clean. So it's almost like you're kind of back at square one, but you're back at square one with like a stat boost. So you already had the players from the original Fortnite, and you're just adding it on top of this Fortnite Chapter 2, where you brought in so many people like me and you who don't play the game often or never play the game at all, who are wanting to come check this out because it was such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, for the first time in 5 seasons, 6 seasons almost, I actually looked at the game as if it was a brand new game. I was like, wow, you know what? I feel like they actually did a lot of work to this. They figured out what they really wanted to do.
Yeah,
And that was, I mean, that was super impressive.
yeah, that's my point. Is like a lot of people maybe were like, I'm done with Fortnite. I hate Fortnite now, or I'm just moving on. I don't necessarily hate it, but I just want to move on to a different game. But it sucked everyone right back in. Like I feel like either if you never played it before, or if you played it back in the day and got rid of it, or you were kind of on the fence about it now, it just immediately hooked you back in. Like even again, if you're not playing it constantly, you still were like, oh well, at least I'm gonna check it out once. Like, oh, I gotta see what this is about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I hadn't played much, and I was watching Tim the Tatman stream it earlier, and just seeing the fact that they actually updated stuff, and they don't even want to call it Fortnite, season 11. They're calling it Fortnite Chapter 2, season 1. And that was something that I never thought they'd do. It's almost like making a Fortnite 2. They added so many new mechanics and things like that.
I mean, I think that's what they're going for, right? Like Chapter 2. I think that basically is Fortnite 2 without having them to create a brand new game, right? Because I mean, if you looked in the game, the UI is totally different too. Like the health bar is on the left side of the screen now. It's different textures, different layouts. Like it looks different. I mean, it has the same graphics, but it looks totally different. So it's
I mean, they
still
even
Fortnite
updated the
2.
gun icons.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's still Fortnite without it's Fortnite Chapter 2 without having to create a brand new game. Like they literally just made it look like a brand new game inside the same game, which is so different from what has happened in the past. Like And again, that's why I think this is the best marketing campaign of all time. Is that, if let's just use Halo for example, right? Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's coming out next year. It's going to launch with Xbox Scarlet. Imagine that being just an update in Halo 5. Like if Halo 5 literally went silent for 3 days, people go, "What the fuck is going on?" and it comes back as a brand new game. Like that would blow people's minds. And that's pretty much what Epic Games did here with Fortnite.
The only thing that I think would be bigger than what Epic has done is if they remastered Halo.
No, see, I don't think the Halo Reach remaster is the big deal because all they did was just come out and be like, "Oh yeah, we're remastering Halo Reach. It's going to come with the Master Chief Collection on PC." Like that's it. Like it was literally just like a typical standard marketing ploy that we're used to for the past like 10, 15 years. This literally was like, "Hey, we're having an event, like we usually do for the next season. Come and check it out." They stopped all the game modes. All you had was just the end event, and people jumped into it, saw what happened, which obviously I will link a description. I think I'm going to use 10 the Tapman's video because I like his the best. He has the best
He
footage
had a
of it.
great reaction.
Yeah, well, he also. I was looking at a bunch of others today, and was like looking at everything better, in my opinion. People were just kind of like looking around and they missed a couple things, but he seemed to get it the best. So I'm gonna link his in the description. If for some reason you're hidden under a rock and you didn't see the event and what happened, but that happens, and then it just enters to a black hole, and people are like, wait, is this it? Like people thought that they were gonna be able to still play after this, and it didn't happen. All they saw was just the black hole and an exit button. And they're like, wait, did Fortnite shut the game down? And literally, for 2 days, it's just been a black hole. But they didn't lose anything. They actually gained everything, in my opinion, just because of this. If they would have just launched Fortnite Chapter 2 without that event, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like, it would have been a big deal because it's Fortnite, but I think even if Fortnite wasn't Fortnite, if that makes sense, like if it wasn't as big of a deal as it already is, like it still would have been a huge thing. I think it would still have caught people's eye if it was not as big as it already is. That's why I think it's the greatest marketing campaign of all time.
I mean, no other video game company has done something as ever. We've seen some big launches. Actually, the only thing I can think of that comes anywhere near it is Destiny 2, but Shadowkeep launching. This is the first time in 5 years that they've ever shut the game down for more than a period of an hour or two for like
True.
routine maintenance. Even when they dropped like the Taken King or Rise of Iron back in Destiny 1, the game was back up very quickly. But here we are for Shadowkeep. They shut the game down for a solid 24 hours.
Well, it was long. It was like I was up this morning, and it was like 40 something hours. It was like 42 hours or something like that. It was 42 hours where they were not making money. But at the same time, they were making money because people were jumping right back in. Like the Destiny thing, I would have agreed with you because of the stakes of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, right? Because now that they're not with Activision, and they were always blaming Activision that it was their fault of why the shitty things were happening. But I also think that if that never happened, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep would never been a big thing. It would have been just another expansion if they never would have left Activision, or if
Oh,
Activision never would have been
absolutely.
involved in the first place. So with this, literally on Twitter having 100 something thousand viewers, and then separately on Twitch having 100 something thousand viewers on Twitch's own channel, and then having hundreds of thousands of other people looking at other streamers who were streaming it. Like you probably were looking at millions of people watching this thing at once at the same time of just nothingness. Like it's so crazy that this a video game nowadays is getting this kind of attention because we're used to video games being just kind of a niche thing, right? Like we were losers if we sat inside and played video games all day. And then Fortnite changed all that. Fortnite, kind of opened up the gates to professionals and celebrities playing video games and it being cool. But even still, again, if this was never Fortnite and something like this happened, it would still be a big deal. People be like, why did they stop? Why did they shut down their servers for 2 days? Why are they stupid? They're gonna lose money. They're not making any money while no one's playing. But it didn't matter because it still made a bunch of money. Because right when it came back, people were playing, and people probably bought the battle pass, and people probably bought all the skins at the shop. Like it made so much more money doing it this way. Like that's why I solely think that this is the best marketing campaign of a video game of all time. Now, my question is, do you think anything in the future could top this? Like obviously we're not from the future, but do you think just simply, do you think anything could top this in the future, or do you think this is as good as it gets?
Now, are we talking about like just from Epic themselves, or like say
Anything.
Halo Infinite drops? I don't know, man. There are some very, very, very sought after games coming out soon.
True, but do you think marketing wise it could be better than this?
There's some companies out there that have a lot more money than Epic that are in charge of these things, and I think if 343, especially, this is gonna be my bet. If 343 actually gets their act together and has a good promo for Infinite, then I feel like Infinite will be bigger
See, I don't
than
think
what
so.
Epic just did.
I don't think so. In terms of marketing, I don't think it can. I mean, I think it could be something could come along and do way better than this, but I don't think it's going to be for a while. Like obviously so many people have more money in terms of marketing budget, right? That could do something bigger, but they won't do anything as crazy as this. Like they won't have people sitting there talking about their game for days on end when no one's playing it. Like the only thing I could see is E3, right? So like when E3 happened this year, probably one of the biggest things that happened was Final Fantasy VII remake, and people were like, "Oh my God, that trailer looked amazing! March 3rd, I can't wait! Doesn't it look good? We've been waiting for this for a long time." But then it was like nothing. Like no one started saying anything. No one kept talking about it. Whereas Fortnite Chapter 2 literally had people talking for days about nothing, and then now that it's out, people are still talking about it because it's new, because it's fresh. There's so many different things. Like they got so much marketing buzz out of this that again, it brought so many new players in that I don't think even the likes of Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the greatest video games of all time, and probably one of the most anticipated video games of all time, will not get this kind of buzz.
I feel like we're forgetting a really big one that showed up.
What?
Cyberpunk 2077.
See, that's when I was
This is a
thinking.
game. This is a game that has had people talking about it for what, 7 years?
2013.
So
So,
6 years.
yeah, by the time it comes out, it'll have been 7 years.
People have been talking about this game for 7 years almost,
But
and
but
they
I,
brought Keanu Reeves out.
but not on this scale. I feel like because I feel like when it was being talked about in such a high fashion, it was only in like little pockets, right? Like when 2013, when it was announced, right? It got so much buzz because it was the creators of The Witcher 3 were making this new, oh my God, this isn't Witcher 4. Like what is this? Oh my God, it's from the future. And then it kind of went away. And then fast forward literally years later, again when they showed something, at 2018 E3, when people are like, "Oh my God, it's here! It's finally here! Oh my God, this looks great! I can't wait to see more!" And then again last year when they showed it and then announced the release date with Keanu Reeves, we were like, "Oh my God, Keanu Reeves! This is great! This is amazing!" But then it died down really quickly. Whereas I feel like this is going to be like a staple in the future for video games. Like if there was like a history book in class in high school or college on video games, this would be there. This would be in that textbook of
I feel
remembering
like
what
this
that
will.
happened.
I feel like this will go into the textbook for a lot of different things, not just video games. But I feel like like other courses such as like marketing and advertising courses, things like that, are definitely going to look at this and use it as an example of this is how you do things right.
No,
If you want
exactly.
to draw a crowd, this is exactly how you do it.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was a very risky thing for them to do because again, they shut their servers off basically for 2 days. Like they were making zero money off of Fortnite for 2 days. Granted, it's Fortnite, so they had enough money to sustain them for 2 days, but still, like they could have been making so much more money over the next 2 days and they didn't because they knew they had the foresight that if they did it this way, they would make so much more money in the long term because people would be hungry for Fortnite after 2 days of not playing it, like addicts. Like like people who play this game are addicts, and they want to just keep playing Fortnite. And when you strip it from them for 2 days, they start like fiending for it. Like they just want it so bad, and then when it's brand new and fresh, they want it even more. And then they see the new skins and they want to buy it. Like give I'll give you $100. Give me the battle pass. Give me all the skins. Give me everything off the shop. There's so many people like that out there. Like I hate to say it because I'm not a big fan of this game. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't hate Epic for making this game, but like it just it's so crazy that this one game can make so much money and then do something like this, which they call an event, and then just make so much more money. Like it's insane. And that's why I will always remember this. Kind of like what we were talking about in our news episode of Blizzard having that stain on them because of what they've done. Like this is like that, but in a positive way. Like people are gonna look at this, like video game companies are gonna look at this for years and years, and be like, "Oh, how do we do that thing like Fortnite did for Chapter 2? Like, how do we get that kind of buzz?" That's why I see it as the greatest marketing campaign of all time, because video game companies are gonna look at this as a template for years and years to come. Whereas I just don't see it with any other game company, at least for a while. Again, I think something in the future will come along and top this, but I don't think it's going to be for a while.
I mean, you're probably really right on that because I think what one of the big things that made it such a big deal is that it was such a risky move.
Yes, it was.
They
Like
could have lost a lot.
maybe a risky move in our eyes, but to them they probably I mean, there was a safety net. I'll give you that. Like there was a safety net again because they have so much money. Like if Fortnite wasn't as big as it was, maybe they would be more cautious about it. But I'm just arguing that even if there wasn't that safety net, it would still be a huge deal. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like we don't see this with Blizzard. We see these gorgeous, beautiful cinematics every time they release a new expansion and new
yeah,
content for WoW. But if they shut the servers down, that would be very quickly a bad decision.
right.
You know,
It would be. Like people be like, I just want to play. Like, why can't I play right now? This sucks. Whereas this, it was, even though people were playing other games on the downtime, they were still thinking about it. They're playing games just until they can play Fortnite again.
right? That's all they wanted. They just wanted to play Fortnite. They didn't really give a shit about anything else.
And I'll also argue, as my final, I guess, slam of, confidence, is that there were leaks of this. Like even the day the event happened, there were leaks of, hey, it's going to be a new map. Hey, it's called Chapter 2. And then like a day in, like yesterday on Monday, there was a leaked image on the Italian Apple Store of this Fortnite Chapter 2 picture that you see on screen right now. And people are like, "Oh, it is Fortnite Chapter 2. Okay, it looks like a new map. Looks like there's boats there." But it still got so much buzz. Like the leaks didn't kill this thing. Whereas like when I look back at E3 2019, probably one of the biggest announcements there was Elden Ring from Software. Like that was huge. A game made by the creators of Dark Souls and Bloodborne collaborating with George R. R. Martin on a brand new game. But it got so de-hyped because the leaks that came out weeks before. Whereas this, when the leaks happened, people were like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but I'm still waiting to actually see it. Kind of like you were saying, like I'm waiting to see the trailer. I'm waiting to jump in and see this myself. Like it didn't de-hype it at all. Whereas most leaks that happen de-hype everything.
I
So
mean, imagine how big Elden Ring would have been.
it would have been huge. That's what I'm saying. Like if you would have heard, hey, the creators of Dark Souls and Bloodborne are collaborating with George R. R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones, one of the biggest TV shows and books of all time, you would have had your mind blown. But you
Oh, I
did
would have
hear it.
lost it.
So when you saw the trailer at E3 2019 and it was no gameplay, it was just a cinematic, you were kind of like, yep, there it is. There it is. That's what we've been seeing for weeks. Now here's what it looks. Oh, it looks pretty, but you weren't like you weren't like jumping out of your chair like, "What? Oh my god. I can't believe it." Like you weren't flipping you know, fucking Xboxes off the table. You weren't throwing your monitors across the room, whereas you were with this Fortnite Chapter 2.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean I hate leaks. That's why I avoid everything social media wise when I'm waiting for something to come out. But it's just amazing to see the power, the pool that Fortnite has.
Yeah, it's insane. It's I mean, again, I'm so baffled by it, and I don't even play Fortnite. That's why I tried to bring it up for this episode. Is that I'm someone who doesn't play Fortnite ever, and I was even myself today when it launched playing it. I played 2 matches in a row. Like I just wanted to play. I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see the new map. I wanted to see the new features to it. Like it just hooked me in, and it didn't even do anything. But I saw a black screen for 2 days. That was it. Like it. Like that's so much power that you have with people when it comes to a marketing campaign where you really didn't spend a lot of money. All you did was just, send a little patch through live, which is also amazing within itself. So you didn't have to like throw out a bunch of money on TV to show a trailer and hook people in like, "Hey, Fortnite Chapter 2." All you had to do was just do a little update to your game and then send one trailer out. And that was it. Like and you got so much more money than anybody who did that did the prior. Like that's why I think it's the greatest marketing campaign of all time, and it seems like you agree with me, right?
I do, absolutely. I literally cannot think of anything that would top what they did.
Well, that is the premise of this show. Again, we are calling it Am I Wrong? We will have another one of these. Of course, I promise that whether it's B or Panda who brings up a topic for Am I Wrong, we will eventually debate over it. We do all the time off video. But please comment down below if you think that I am wrong. Prove prove that I'm wrong in the comments with something else. And on the next episode, we will read one of those comments and we will discuss it before we go into the next segment of Am I Wrong? But that's gonna do it for this episode. What'd you think, Panda? Did you like that idea?
I think this is great, and I think our viewers are actually going to really enjoy it.
I think so too. Like I like that idea because we could just do a normal debate, but I like having a little kind of game out of it of proving whoever's bringing something wrong if they are wrong. It's kind of a nice game. We might keep a tally. Like since you didn't disagree with me, I might have a point on the board. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't seen it yet, please check out our previous video for our news of the week, where we talked about the Blitzchung response to the Blizzard statement. It's a very dark video, very sad video, but it's also an interesting one to listen to. So please check that out. And if you liked it, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. We greatly appreciate it. It helps support us so we can do this full time. And I think that's going to do it for us this time. We will see you guys later. Peace.
Later.